Attorney General has just announced a rather lengthy and detailed layout of the lawsuit that she is putting against Donald Trump, former president. Some of this is really inside baseball unless it's your tax dollars in New York. And some people may even accuse it of being political because we're 48 days away from the midterm elections. And both presidents, the current and the past, are certainly being looked at to help candidates out. So we'll see how this plays out. We're certainly going to cover it, and we'll bring you highlights as they happen. But the big headline in all of this is the lawsuit by the state of New York today, just announced by Letitia James. Let's move on. For the very first time, Ambassador Haley is with me now to react publicly and to get her response to something that's getting a ton of attention right now. It's a personal attack on her. Critics are pushing back hard on The View's co-host, Sunny Hostin, for accusing Ambassador Haley of trying to hide her Indian heritage. It began with the panel talking about a potential 2024 White House race. Let's watch.
I'd love to see Nikki Haley.
And Nikki Haley, the chameleon.
I think that Nikki Haley was an incredibly effective governor of South Carolina.
There's some of us that can be chameleons and decide not to embrace our ethnicity so that we can pass.
Sunny, I don't think that's fair.
You go by a different name.
Yeah.
Wow, she really is that racially ignorant. And your response?
You know, it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time that the hosts at The View come after me, or that liberals come after me in in whatever way. They can't stand the fact that a minority female would be a conservative Republican. You know, when I ran and won governor, a reporter went to a high-ranking African-American Democrat female and said, "How do you feel that South Carolina now has their first minority governor?" And she said, "Nikki Haley's not a minority. She's just a conservative with a tan." So you look at what Sunny Hostin does, and, you know, the idea that, no, Sunny is not her name. Nikki is my name. It is on my birth certificate. It is an Indian name, and I embrace my Indian heritage. I have written 2 books that describe the struggles that my family had, what it was like growing up. But the idea that they can do this, you're not going to see her fired from that show. We're not even going to see an apology from that show because they let liberals say that about conservative Republican minorities all the time. But yet nothing is done. Had this been said about a Democrat, all hell would have broken loose.
You know, just in terms of that 2024, and I pointed out the politics of things that are happening on every scale right now, whether it's a lawsuit against a former president. We are cooking down 48 days to the midterm elections. And then begins the real talk about 2024. And what will you have to say about it?
Well, I think let's see what happens in November. We have to win the House, the Senate, and these 36 governors' races. And then, you know, I've said before, if, you know, once the elections are out of the way, we'll look at the situation. If it looks like there's a place for me, I've never lost a race. You know, I'll give it 1,000% and we'll finish it. But I think it's really important we look at November. And what I hope Democrats realize, you know, when they look at what happened on The View is it's Democrats that are racist. These liberal extremists are the ones that are racist. They're the ones that think minorities are incapable of going to the DMV to get an ID to vote. They're the ones that are racist that say minority parents are incapable of finding the school for their children. Let's let independents, conservative Democrats realize that, no, it's not Republicans that are racist or sexist. It's liberal Democrats that have done this for a long time. And I hope that really goes to the heart of what happens in the House, Senate, and governor's races come November.
Well, you know, I've always been grateful when people show you who they are. I don't want to think that someone is one thing and then you find out later, no, they really are the enemy. So there is a favor to be thanked for all of this. I know it can be harmful to your feelings, but at the same time, you know exactly where some of these people stand.
No, and look, none of this bothers my feelings. I mean, I brush it off my shoulder. You know,
well, you were at the UN dealing with everything across the table from you. So,
well,
yeah.
You know, when they go after something like your name or your looks, they don't have anything else. That shows you're winning, and I'll take that win all day long.
Ambassador Nikki Haley, you were with me with the president today through the breaking news, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Very much. It's been a busy hour. Thank you for watching the Faulkner Focus. Outnumbered after